Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Brief content of operation management, product design, an important strategy factor. Product design in manufacturing and non-manufacturing operation, aggregate capacity planning, plan and forecast. First, we will discuss product design in detail. That what is product design, then we will come to important strategy, then manufacturing and then manufacturing. So let me explain a little bit more today regarding product design that you have. Product design, we specify material, one. Second, determines 3 dimension and tolerance, define appearance and performance standard. Service design specify what the customer to experience, physical item, psychological benefits. And an effective design process match the product and services characteristic with customer need, meet customer requirement in simplest most cost effective manner, reduce time to market, minimize revisions. The design process, we have idea generation. So idea generation could be from supplier, marketing, research and development, competitor, customer. So product and service design, then we will discuss feasibility study, means performance specification. When we form a design, so we will go through functional design and production design. In functional design, design specification. In production design, manufacturing or delivery specification. Then from both functional design and process design, it will come to final test. So after final test, new product or service launch. Idea generation, supplier, distributor, salesperson, trade journal and other published material. Warranty claim, customer complaints, failures. Customer survey focus on group interview. Field testing, research and developments. So this was the idea generation. Stage in the design process. Idea generation means product concept. We will do in idea generation the product concept. In feasibility study, performance specification. In primary design, prototype. In final design, we'll go for the final design specification. Process planning means manufacturing process. This was stage and design process, means in design process, idea generation means we'll go to product and product concept. In feasibility study, performance specification. Primary design, prototype. In final design specification. In process planning, manufacturing specification. The design process means more idea generation could be from benchmark, perceptual map and reverse engineering. Perceptual maps visual comparison of customer perception. In benchmark, comparing product and service against best in class, while reverse engineering is the competitor product to improve your own product. In feasibility study, we will study market analysis, economic analysis, technical strategic analysis, performance specification. In primary design, we will create functional design, build prototype, test prototype, revise prototype, test. In functional design, how the product perform, reliability and maintainability. Reliability is probability product perform intent function for specific length of time. Maintainability is and cost maintaining repairing a product. So this was regarding the product design. Now improving the design process. How we will improve the design process? Design team. Second, concurrent design. Design for manufacturing and assembly. Design to prevent failure and ensure value. Design for environment. Measure design quality. Utilize the quality function. Design for or engage in collaborative design. Design team, we go for marketing and manufacturing engineering, supplier, dealer, customer, lawyer, accountant, insurance company. So concurrent design improve the quality of early design decisions. Decentralized supplier complete detailed design. Incorporate the production process, often uses a price system. Scheduling management can be complex that the tasks are done and so this was regarding the product design. Now let's go to the product design that we will discuss. So here in our course they only talk about the product design, while with the product design so automatically service design is also. So major factor in a strategy is cost, quality, time market, customer satisfaction, and competitive advantage. Trend in product and service design. Increase emphasis on or attention to customer satisfaction. Reduce time to introduce new product or services. Reduce time to produce a product. Trend in product and service design. Increase emphasis or attention to the organization capability to produce or deliver the item. Environmental concern. Designing a product and service that are user friendly. Design product that use less material. Product or service design activity. Translate customer wants and need into product and service requirement. Refine the existence product and services. Develop a new product and services. Formulate quality goal. Formulate cost targets. Construct and test prototype. Document specification. Reason for the product or service design. That what are the reasons? Economic reason, social and demographic reason, political, liability or legal, life cycle, competitive, cost or availability, and technology is a reason for product or service design. So here in your slide I have write product design. Product design is a verb to create new product to sold by a business to its customer that I have explained. Translate customer need in want into product and service requirement. So here the word service is not mentioned. Only product design is a verb to create a new product to be sold by the business to its customer, to keep in mind the customer requirement. A very broad coefficient in effective generation and development of idea through process that lead to new product. It is a major aspect of new product development. So this was a product design. Now in a product design, that factor affecting the strategy, we will discuss the major strategy which affect the product design. Or let me explain factor affecting product design, then we will come to strategy. There are several factors that affect the design of a product. A product designer must consider these factors before designing the product in order to creating winning design. These factors are as follows. First, customer requirement. Second, facility for the operators. Third, functionality. Fourth, cost ratio. Fifth, quality of a product. 6, capability of process. 7, material requirement. 8, work method. 9, effect on existing design. And 10, package. Now let me explain one by one that what is customer requirement. The end user or a customer are those one that would leverage the product, so due to respect should be given to their requirement before designing a product. The designer should make sure that the product is ergonomically designed so that the customer can use it conveniently in all conditions. Second, facility for the operator. It is the task of the product designer to ensure that the operator can perform intended operation using the product. The product should be integrated with all essential features and facility that make its operation simple and comfortable. If the product design complicated, then the operator may become tired and be less productive. So the product should be designed in such a way that it is easy to handle and operate. Functionality. A product should be designed in such a way that it yield 100% customer satisfaction. This is, the designer must ensure the product is functioning optimally and is meeting purpose for which it is designed. There should be between the appearance of a product and its functionality to the customer. Fourth, cost ratio. A product designer must design a high quality product in a way that it cost effective. A product should be of top notch quality, functional and appealing in a design such that attract the customer. The designer must also ensure that is creating a design which is even cost effective as well, that will attract the customer most. Quality of product. The design of the product and its equality should be hand in hand. The quality of a product depend on its design as well. It is conformity, so the designer must ensure that he or she producing a goods quality product that impressive design. Capability of process. A product designer must have requisite knowledge of the machinery in order to take care of the quality of conformance. The quality of conformance is depend on the capability of equipment and machine, how much they can process. A designer should thus establish a tolerance limit of each machine and equipment. Material requirement. This type quality and nature of material used in a production of a product impact on design to great extent, so the designer must have adequate knowledge of the material. He or she should have up-to-date information about the availability of a new and better material in order to create the desired product. Work method. The work method adopted in the equipments used to impact the availability of the design. Little change in the work method can considerably affect the production cost, so the designer must be inventive in order to find out the most efficient work method. He or she should be an innovation in the market so that he or she compromise to the work methods. A product should be designed in such a way that it should have the scope for improvement in the type of equipment requirement and the work method adopted. 9. Effect on existence design. In case of a new product is being designed to replace an existing product, then the designer should ensure that he or she use the standard materials, parts, components design, strategy techniques and manufacturing process. It is the task of a product designer to existing product with the new manufacturing technology. In this way, the designer can keep the production costs minimum. 10. Package. Packing is one of the core components associated with the product. Design of the package of a product is equally important as the product itself. This is because packing ensures that the package is protective and even serve the promotion purpose. The package should be attractive as it will appeal to the customers. There are the major factors that a production designer should consider in our product designing. So this was the 10th step for the product design. Now it is turn to modes of strategy formulation. Strategy making in reality is much different from the theoretical procedure which is recommended for strategy formulation. As a matter of fact, strategy making is a very practical and skill art of management which grow a management with long experience. From the practical viewpoints, there may be the following 3 modes of strategy making: entrepreneur modes, adaptive modes, and planning modes. 3 types for the strategy formulation. Entrepreneur mode. Under this mode, the entrepreneur, who is the founder of organization. So the entrepreneur modes, under this mode, the entrepreneur, who is the founder of the organization or the descent of the founder, decide upon the strategy on the basis of his own wisdom, experience, foresight, intuition. The entrepreneur, as the strategy designer, follow a practical approach, whereas environmental factor analysis, especially competition, and depend more on his knowledge and common sense without caring for organization, policy, rule, and procedures. This was the entrepreneur modes for strategy formulation. Second is adaptive mode. Under this mode of strategy making, once the strategy is put into practice, the management keep a close watch on environmental happening in trends and keep adopting or adjusting strategy in the light of environmental development. This approach in effect is offspring of contingency approach to management. It is based on the it is based on the final strategy formulation cannot be or must not be initially, but strategy must gradually and systematically finalize only after actually observing environmental developments. And the last is planning modes. This is the scientific mode of strategy making, which is based on SWOT analysis, gap analysis, and other logical steps required in strategy formulation, like development of strategy, alternative, and their evaluation, leading to the choice of final strategy organizations. Now, let's do the critical step to a successful product design strategy that we have discussed, even the three modes in your slide. The question is, why do you need a design strategy? Because it will ultimately help you determine what a product to create. A design strategy determine what a product to make and why and how to innovate contextually in both short term and long term. A design strategy is interplay between the design business and technology. In a second, a good product design strategy will define the product before it is created. Means we should define the strategy before to create a product. Give insight into what will make the product successful. Help you understand what you should design. Guide the development path means way. Help with the design decisions. Incorporate other discipline in the design process. Summary: to create successful design strategy, you need to understand your problem or opportunity. Once you define and understand the problem and opportunity, then you can full define your product. At this point, you can thus focus on visualizing and realizing your product. A design strategy determines what a product to make and why and how to innovate contextually in both short term and long term. A design strategy is interplay between the design business and technology. A good product design strategy will define the product before it is created. So this was all about the product. So why product design is important and what factor affect a good design that I have discussed in the content. This type or quality in a nature of material used in the production of a product, in impact design to create great extent. So the designer must have adequate knowledge of the material. He or she should have up-to-date information about availability of the new better materials in order to create a desired product. Now it is turn to discuss difference between manufacture and non-manufacture cost. Let me explain first in a slide, then we will go to some explanation. Manufacturing business have costs associated with manufacturing and non-manufacturing business functions. These costs are directly or indirectly associated with the producing a product. There are three major categories of manufacturing costs, consisting of direct labor that I will discuss, direct material, and manufacturing overhead. Maybe you have studied this in a cost accounting as well. So I will explain again the direct labor, direct material, and manufacturing overhead. So non-manufacturing is also known as a period cost, consists of selling and administrative expenses. Identifying, separating in cost data provide management and outside decision maker, investor, valuable information on the company profitability and cost control system. Now we will discuss what is direct labor, direct material, and manufacturing overhead. So, direct material manufacturing cost. A company profitability is depend on management ability to control costs. One important cost to monitor is a raw material. These are necessary costs required to produce the final product. Direct material costs are those costs directly associated with manufacturing a product. For instance, publishing company consider ink in paper as a direct material cost. However, an auto parts manufacturer considers steel and plastic is a direct material cost in the ink in paper used to design the parts pages are considered non-manufacturing cost means period cost. Direct labor cost. Labor is the most costly of any business, but it is also the backbone of the company. Manufacturing companies have labor costs associated with the direct manufacturing and non-manufacturing labor costs. In order to determine the cost of goods sold, calculating labor cost is essentially direct labor manufacturing cost is determined by calculating the cost of employee directly responsible for producing the product. For example, a clothing manufacturer consider employee that dye the clothes, cut the cloth, and sew the cloth into a garment is a direct labor cost. However, designer and salesperson are considered non-manufacturing labor cost means period cost. Direct manufacturing overhead. Manufacturing overhead are costs that are not part of labor or material costs and can be either fixed or variable costs. So, non-manufacturing costs could be fixed or variable cost. For instance, fixed overhead cost consists of property tax, premium, depreciation, and non-manufacturing employee salary, where variable direct manufacturing overhead costs include indirect labor, indirect material, and utilities. Though most of these costs are self-evident, indirect material costs are unique because these costs are not essential to the physical production of the product. Non-manufacturing costs. Non-manufacturing costs are necessary to carry on general business operation but are not part of the physical manufacturing process. These costs are represented during a period of time and are not calculated into the cost of goods sold. Non-manufacturing costs consist of selling expense, including marketing and commission expenses, and sales salary and administration expense, such as office salaries, depreciation, and supplier. Is the purpose of addressing these costs is deficiently is based on the fact that are accounted for differently when the income statement and balance sheet. So this was about the manufacturing and non-manufacturing costs that we have discussed. Manufacturing cost is the direct labor, direct material, and manufacturing overhead, while non-manufacturing is also known as a period cost, consists of selling and administrative expenses that we have discussed, even what is direct labor, direct material, and manufacturing overhead. So this is not our job to study direct material, direct labor, because you have studied this in a cost accounting. This was only the proportions that in a productions we have both manufacturing and non-manufacturing cost. Financial plan versus financial forecast. Financial forecast is an estimation or projection of likely future income or revenue and expenses, while financial plan layout the necessary step to generate future income and cover the future expenses. Alternatively, a financial plan can be looked as what an individual company plan to do with the income or revenue receive. While both processes orient financial activity toward the future, a financial plan is a roadmap drafted now that can be allowed over a time, and financial forecast is a projection or estimated of future outcomes predicted today. Key takeaway: a financial plan is a strategic approach to finance that marks out a roadmap to follow in the future. A financial forecast is an estimated of future outcomes arrived at using one of several methods, including satisfaction model to make projection. Both business and individual can make use of financial plan and financial forecast. A financial plan is a process, a company layout typically broken down into step-by-step format for utilizing it is available capital and other assets to meet goal for growth or profit based. On reasonable financial forecast is a financial plan can be considered with a business plan in that it lay out what a company plan to do in the term of putting resources to work to generate maximum possible revenue. A financial plan is a strategic approach to finance that make out roadmap that I have discussed with you peoples. Financial forecast is critical for business success to effectively manage working capital and cash flow. A company must have a reasonable idea of how much revenue it plans to receive over a given time period and what is necessary expenses will be over that some period of time. Financial forecasts are commonly reviewed as a revised annual as a new information regarding asset and cost becoming available. The new data enable our individual or a business to make more accurate financial projection. It is easier or establish a company that generate revenue to make accurate financial forecast than it is for the new business or company whose revenue is subjective to significant seasonal or for an individual. Financial forecast is an estimate of his income and expense over a period of time. Based on forecast, the individual can then construct a financial plan that includes saving, investing, or planning for obtaining additional income to his personal finance, as well anticipating the expenditure that would. So what is planning and forecasting? Difference between planning and forecasting. Planning and forecasting is the managerial process of mapping out corporate action based on past and present data trend. Since forecast is the prediction of the future event, plan often use a forecast in order to inform the decision making process. What are the step of the planning? Step of the planning could be develop task to meet these objectives, determine resource needed to implement the task, create timeline. Fifth, determine tracking and assessment method. Six, finalize a plan. And seven, distribute to all involved in a process. So this was the difference between financial plan and financial forecast. Now, financial forecast that I have told is critical for the business success. Effectively manage working capital and cash flow that we have discussed before. Now we will discuss the capacity planning in aggregate planning. Capacity planning and aggregate planning, most business owners and managers struggle to produce the highest quality product at the lowest production cost. In business term, capacity means the maximum amount of productivity possible. Capacity planning is one mean of managing resource to gather the most profit for every dollar spent. This type of planning can be set up to different level. The planning system help a company handle an increase or decrease in demand, meet change in technology, and take advantage of a new opportunity. Aggregate planning. Aggregate planning is a mid aggregate planning. We will discuss the aggregate planning. Aggregate planning is a mid-term capacity planning that typically cover a period of 2 to 18 months. Like capacity planning, aggregate planning consider the resource needed for the production, such as the equipment, production space, time, and labor. Company use aggregate planning to ensure they have time to carry out the production plan to meet the customer demand, smooth operation along the supply chain, and reduce production cost. Aggregate production planning strategy. This type of aggregate production planning strategy include the strategy level and mix strategy. In this case, strategy, the size of the workforce and production modified as needed to meet demand throughout the plan period. In the level aggregate planning production strategy, production rate remain steady throughout the period. When a company implement mixed strategy, inventory and workforce level are adjusted when required to meet demand. In other types of capacity planning, in addition to aggregate planning, which deal with the resource requirement, company can also use a capacity planning to determine the future capacity need at other level. For example, capacity requirement planning take into consideration the material need for the production throughout the plan period. In other type of capacity planning, rollout take place the master scheduling level like aggregate planning. This planning strategy consider time needed to complete the production but focus on short term rather than medium. So this was the aggregate production strategy. Thank you so much.